my name's Adrian Legg. Welcome to my Hot Licks video. That piece was called The Irish Girl. I've chosen it to start with because it's in open D, and open D is an extremely accessible tuning. I'll show you how we get it. We take the top string E down a tone to D. We take the second string down a tone also. We take the third string down a semitone from G to F sharp. And we drop the sixth from E to D, which gives us this. When in doubt, take your hands off, you've got a chord, you're out of trouble. Old maxim. I'll take you through the piece slowly in bits and pieces. The intro starts with a fretted B up here, and we use harmonics to get this effect. That part recurs, as does the following, sort of like a scale passage. We're doing this double stop. I'll do it to you slowly. So that's the intro out of the way, and we get into the main part of the tune. Notice so far it's all on the first string, and we're just using open strings for the background. Now we want a bar A fifth fret straight across. I'll do it again. Now we're going for an E minor. See the E minor here. I'll do that again. It's back to the sort of double stop passage, which you've already learned. To get some variation into the tune, the next verse takes out the bottom end of the guitar. We ignore the sixth. We're only going to use the A string at a point that we'll get to in a little while. We're using as the bottom string the fourth, and we're going to use a little slide at the top just to get some difference into it, some light and shade. I'll do it again. This little bit here is quite a useful trick. That comes in and out. Now we repeat. And the sort of double stop runner has to be changed as well to fit with this, and we get this instead. We're hitting open harmonics at the top of it. So far, so good. Now we want to do the tune again because it's a nice tune, but we don't want to be boring. So we do the tune in the bass. Scaly bit we covered again, that one. I'll repeat that passage. That's the E minor coming down again, but slightly differently. And a bit from the intro again. Now watch for the variation. I'll do it again. And on. That time we leave the seventh in there to resonate because we're going to change in a minute. Notice that the use of fingers is at least economical. You really don't need to use that much. There's not a great deal going on the left hand. Right hand's got to be pretty careful. You need a melodic flow on the right hand. You need to make sure you're getting the octaves here. That's what's going on underneath the picking. That's the important bit. I'll go again from the E minor. Back to the main theme, and that's all it is. Make the most of the slide up here. The point of this piece is to try and be romantic, and slides help with that. Through the verse, onto the end, a little lick on the end, the B with the harmonics. Now you can probably hear the echo slap. Playing solo, the major problem is rushing. You get on stage, you get nervy, and you belt through the pieces. You can use your delay pedal to set the tempo. Listen. If you use a little rubato here and there, if you accelerate or decelerate, if you simply get nervy and lost, there it is, clicking away, following you, and it'll pull you back down to the tempo you need. Okay, so it's own-up time. What I have on this guitar, you probably haven't got on yours, and it's a banjo player's trick. These here are Keith pegs, and what happens with these is that you can set a top and bottom stop for each note. Most banjo players would use 2 up here for things like Flint Hill, old tunes like that. The idea of shifting strings like that came originally from old Scruggs, who used an extra peg with a cam that came around and shoved the string. Bill Keith and the Beacon Banjo Company have refined that into a straight 2-to-1 peg with these stops. So you get effects like this. So what I have built in is the open D we started with, normal tuning, or what the last tune, Divorcee's Waltz, is in. This is an open G tuning. There's also another little cheat going on here. I use parametric EQ, some of it defensively to prevent, say, room resonance causing a feedback, sometimes to prevent a guitar resonance causing a feedback. I also use it for tonal reasons, and in this piece I'm making a quite steep notch at 2 kilohertz and a little boost around 500 hertz. That gives it this sort of hollow tone. It's got similar characteristics to a dobro or an out-of-phase strat. It's that quality of tone. If the blues ain't nothing but a good man feeling bad, which is basically it, then this piece is essentially about being fairly miserable. So feel is all important. It needs to be pretty slow. It's a divorcee, it's somebody alone, somebody in pain, girlfriend's cleared off, all that stuff. Pretty miserable. It's therapy for you, too. So I rely on the echo slap quite heavily for this type of piece. It sets the time for me. There are alternatives to, in this piece, there are alternatives to using the banjo pegs. If I take an example from the first verse, we have couldn't do that here. So you can have a bend instead. If you're not up to the bend, then a simple flick. Not quite as sad as the bend. But to start from the beginning, there's no way you're going to be able to do the dropped harmonic without a Keith peg. You need it for that. But you don't necessarily need the dropped harmonic to play the piece. It's a stiller sort of effect. The next section is a triple bend, which sounds horrendous but isn't. Basically, you grab all 3 strings here and you shove them over. Doesn't matter too much about accuracy. These are descending things. You get them on first, then hit them. Yeah, I'll do it again. As long as it's miserable, doesn't matter about wrong notes. Into the tune. In open G, or, I don't know if you can see the little finger here. We're going for a C. The little finger is coming in and pulling the 3rd over. Again, It's not as crucial as it is in most countries to get the bend smack on, just as long as it sounds painful. I'll carry on. Straight bar 8. That last bit. If you want to, hit it with the nail as you come down. If you don't, leave the space. This piece works best. The more space you can leave in it, pardon me, the more space you can leave in it, the better the effect. Let me run up to the chorus. Little fingers doing the bend there again, but it's only a semitone, so it's not too painful. I like to leave a space at the bottom bit there for the echo slap. Gives it more space. Now another cheat. The next section is in octaves, and to emphasize that, I use a little pitch shifter. It's horrendously inaccurate, but at about 20%, it puts enough body behind it to strengthen the octaves and to fill it out a bit. I'll play them without, and then I'll play them with. Take you all through that verse. It's basically the same trick as in the Irish Girl. What we're doing is taking the theme down an octave. We're taking it right down low. Right, it's pretty simple, that. We'll see where the octaves come. Do that sort of thing all night in the Cajun band. That section. The trick with a lot of these effects pedals is still, in spite of fret switching, is still to hit them on the beats, like the old mechanical foot switches, because on a lot of them, especially the digital ones, there is a surge. So now we're getting into a section that's going to be a little trickier, and we have to remember to hit the octave pedal to take it out. So I'll take it from the end of that verse. This is the sort of thing Arlen has taught you for a long time now, this bend. You notice we're doing a variation on the theme, but we're doing it in lumps of 3. You just hit it with all 3 fingers. tricky bit. Again, conviction matters more than accuracy. We're going to do a double bend up here. Now a couple of descending bends. Same thing again. Now the double bends. Try to get this bit smooth, so you descend, you bend down to the C. Okay, then a couple of double stops. That double bend's quite important. You can really give it a wrench, and that adds to the feel of the tune. If you can get a little quiver in it, so much the better. And that's that section. Back to the first verse. Straight through, as before. And let me see, how does it end? Leave plenty of space, let it drag, let the bends go down slowly, let it wrench. It's an old-fashioned country waltz. It's an emotional socket to them. That is a piece called St. Mary's, and I think it demonstrates how easy it is with some very simple components to make quite a big guitar sound. For a start, I can use pedals. I can bring in different pedals, more echo here, a little touch of vibrato there, the pitch shifter later on, to build the piece. As far as the right hand is concerned, it's doing basically the same thing all the way through. It's doing a little roll like this. That's all it's doing. The chords, you can see, D, inversion of D, inversion of G with the D still on, A, another A, B minor, take off the bar A, G, you know those. Not a lot to say about it really, is there? It's simplicity itself. The structure is interesting harmonically. I called it St. Mary's because I was brought up in a church choir, and that was the sort of harmony that I was brought up with. Very simple, very basic, straight out of hymns, ancient and modern. All you need to do, really, is get the right hand going fast enough and strong enough to last all the way through it. That's all it is. Well, there's a lot in there, a lot of fiddly bits, twiddly bits, messing around bits, but there's a bigger point behind it, and it's to do with the instrument. Once upon a time I played electric guitar and I played acoustic guitar, and the two things were entirely separate. I could get good on one and I'd get bad on the other. If I practiced the electric, then my acoustic playing went down. So I spent a while in the instrument industry, and while I was there I worked on ovations, and I found that it was possible to pick a point in the middle of the spectrum, say the acoustic on the left, the electric on the right. Somewhere in the middle is an area where you admit that you're not ever going to get a good acoustic sound on stage. I think people demonstrate that night after night. You need some of the power and flexibility of the electric, but you need some of the harmonic content of the acoustic. I got this to an extent with the Adamus, and so I'm sitting fairly squarely in the middle. I can go on stage and deliver huge amounts of power, really loud concerts with very little problem, but I have enough body left on the guitar to go in and do a local radio or a telly show acoustically. This piece is called Cajun Interlude, and it comes from the time when I was beginning to discover that there was a gap in the middle. It involves techniques that are basically electric techniques with a harmonic content that is fundamentally acoustic, delivered in a straight line out of an amplifier and delivered loud. I think for the purists, and I am one to a certain extent, the acoustic guitar, when you listen to it in a small room with a group of friends, is a wonderful instrument. As soon as you take it on stage and put a microphone in front of it, however well you mic it, you're delivering a sound in straight lines again. So I come to the point where I say, okay, why not use this to my advantage? And so I use it to my advantage. This guitar is strung with Dean Markless. It's strung 10 to 46, which is essentially an electric string. It means I can bend it, I can do all sorts of electric tricks on it, but I've still got a piezo pickup here delivering the qualities that allow me to perform solo. If you play a straight magnetic electric guitar solo, with few exceptions, it just sounds like the bass player couldn't make it. You need the harmonic content to perform a solo. So what I think I should do with this piece is take you through it slowly and let you pick out of it what you need. Obviously there's a section you're not going to be able to do without pegs. If you want to get into pegs, great. They're a lot of fun. There are a lot of problems with them too, but you'll find those out for yourself. So we'll start with the intro. This is a straight chicken picking type of thing. Sorry. Tuning here, by the way, top string is down to D, bottom string is down to D. That changes. Simple enough. One of them bends again. That little sequence is quite difficult. You need a double-jointed little finger for that. Can be developed. Couple of double bends coming up. Only semitones. At that point I kick in the pitch shifter to give me some more weight. This is the little finger flicking over against cover the third. Changed. Now the bit you need the peg for. And we're into G. The octaves again we already talked about. More bends. Do that again. That's that block of 3 fingers on the right hand hitting all at once again. Now the bit you need the pegs for. Remember, this is all preset. Remember the E to D,